All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you're sitting next to one another, you obviously know each other. So I just for the record. So we are Zooming this as well for those that couldn't make it. And obviously this is a different market experience than normal, but we're doing the best we can. So my name is Neil McKenzie. I head up marketing here at Universal. Welcome. We're excited to have Melissa Galt join us today to share some practices and tips and insight into, I think, hopefully helping your business, which hopefully is good. There's a lot going on, certainly in the home space. If you are new to Universal, you can certainly, after this, you can take a tour through the showroom. We are trying to do our best to space people out, but we have a lot of space here, 115,000 square feet. So there is plenty of room to take in. We have a lot of new collections, including a new outdoor collection located on the third floor. Coastal Living Outdoor. So that's located on the third floor. And what they will do, you just go to the front desk and they will allow you to basically just kind of give you a lay of the land and off you go. So we have a number of events like this week as well. Most are virtual. So I encourage you, if you have not done so already, you can go sign up for those. If you can't make the virtual meeting, we will be recording all of these. So we will email that out to you after the fact. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Melissa. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, everyone, to a very unique market experience. Certainly my first behind a mask. I do invite you to ask questions, but if you can hold them until we get closer to the close in case I get them answered for you, that would be awesome. Everything that I'm going to share with you today is based on this book, Marketing Luxury Design. It is not available on Amazon. It was a deliberate decision on my part. It's only available through marketingluxurydesign.com. And I personally sign every book. I put a personal note inside. I put a couple goodies in there, and it comes in a gold bubble envelope. So it's very noticeable in your mail. You're not going to miss that one. And what I'm sharing with you today are pieces from the book. I'm not able to share the entire book. We'd be here all day. And I know you guys have showrooms to go see. I am a huge fan of Universal. I own a lot of Universal in my own home. And so I really encourage you to, as Neil invited you, to please enjoy their hospitality and take a look at their lines because they have a real breadth of styles, great quality, and free shipping, which is really very cool. So with that, we're going to dive into Marketing Luxury Design. I invite you to follow me on Instagram at Melissa Galt for more strategic tips and business growth support. Join me in the Facebook group, Interior Design Business Mastery, and you can PM me for a complimentary copy of this presentation. Or if you've got a business card, put a yes on the back of it, push it to the front of the room, and I'll have that out to you in the next 3 days. So you do not need to do screenshots. You do not need to pull your phone out and be shooting madly. You can focus on the learning instead. That's always one of my goals. So I want to share with you and that of my clients, the designers that I coach, what our definition of a successful practice is. Because it's not about how much money you make. It's a practice that informs and inspires, serves and supports, and fuels and feeds the whole of your life. It doesn't swallow you whole. And that's a really important distinction. Anybody here ever been swallowed whole by their design business? Yeah, me too. So I really want to make sure that you understand this is about earning the money, but having the time to enjoy it. Because just money without the time sucks. And too much time without money isn't working either. So we need both those things to make it work. So what you're going to learn today is the definition of luxury, and it's not what you think, because this is not about a particular line. It's not about how much money they're spending. There's a very different definition. I'm going to share that with you. 5 key qualities affluent clients want in a designer. That means they want them in you. How to identify affluent clients? It's not always obvious, and there's 3 mistakes that you're making, and I'm going to share this with you so you can stop making those mistakes. 5 types of affluent clients. There are 9 in the book, but I included 5 in today's presentations that are worth working with. Where to meet affluent, how to connect, including during our current challenge time, and 7 profitable strategies for marketing. So you're going to have a lot of takeaways, and I designed this to be easy to implement. Bite-sized pieces. You can literally change something in your business between now and Monday, you can implement one of these tips, or 2 or 10, however many is going to work for you. So let's dive into that definition. And the definition of luxury today, it's a feeling. It's about happiness. You are in the business of selling happiness. Now that's a really big intangible. And what's happy to one person isn't happy to somebody else. So it's a moving target also. But the reality is, it's not about that it's a Roche-Beaubois sofa. It's not about that it's a Baker or Theodore Alexander. It's not about that. It's about when they work with you the whole process through, you're creating an experience in design. You've got to separate this from the stuff aspect of it, because it really is about the experience that you create. That's what happiness is all about. So it's about the journey, not the destination. When they land in that room, in that home that you've completely tricked out to the nth degree, it's about how they feel. It's about how it functions for them. It's about a visceral sort of, I'm home feeling, okay? That's tough to quantify. So every step along that path that you create has got to be done deliberately, intentionally, and strategically. And that's what's going to make the difference. Many designers today are very caught in process, and they share their process on their website. And here's my 7 steps. Here's my 12 steps. Some of you probably have that. It's a great thing to do, but that's not why they're hiring you. They're hiring you because they want the experience of working with you, and you're creating a journey. And that's what's going to make the difference. So according to Chris Ramey, he's the founder of the Home Trust. If you don't know thehometrust.com, I would encourage you all to check it out. It is a one-stop online resource for affluent homeowners to find every resource they need for the home, whether it's appliance brands, whether it's furniture brands, whether it's designers, okay? You want to be familiar with the Home Trust. He is also the most quoted expert in luxury marketing today. And Chris says, you don't sell to the affluent, you fascinate and you match values. They want to know that your values match theirs. And they're going to get that from their conversation with you. They're going to get that from their experience on your website, on your Instagram, and in person or via Zoom. So you want to pay close attention to what are your values, because those values that you hold near and dear are going to become the values of your ideal clients. If you're family-centric, chances are good you're going to attract family-centric clients. If you're pet-friendly, you're going to attract pet-friendly clients. It's rare that we attract people who are in opposition to us because it becomes very uncomfortable. Would you all agree that design is a very intimate business? We have to know what goes in their bathroom drawers. We have to know why the nightstand needs to be that large and why there needs to be 3 drawers. Okay, that can be some sticky stuff to ask. It really can. So we need to know these things. So it's an intimate business. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and show a bit about who we truly are in order to connect with our clients appropriately. Where you're, whom you're associated, and what you believe are as important as what you sell, certainly more important than price. So lest you think this is price driven, it is not. And clients will invest because they don't spend, they invest. If you listen to my language and you take notes on it, it will change your bottom line singularly. Okay, my language is very deliberate. They will invest more in design and in your talent and in your expertise. Give them fewer choices, because when you give them too many choices, they get confused. The confused mind says what? No, exactly. And it makes you look like you're not the expert when you start giving them a whole bunch of choices. You need to have an A and a B. And they're inevitably going to ask you, which one would you choose? Okay. Sometimes you get a client that wants to be more involved. If that's what you're comfortable with, do it. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. It doesn't always work well. So next step, 5 key qualities affluent clients want in their designer. First one is to create an indelible connection. They do want to feel connected to you. They require a high degree of trust. They're providing a lot of investment in this. And this applies whether you're working at top tier markets or below. Because what I want you to realize is that design at any level of the market is a luxury. Would you agree? We wanted to be essential this time around, but we haven't been assigned essential yet, have we? Contractors have, builders have, but not designers, unfortunately. And if I was in private conversation with you, I'd say we are essential. But logically, the way the world works, design is a luxury at every level of the market. So no matter where you're practicing, no matter what level you're at, it's still a luxury. So you really want to create an indelible connection. You want to forge a creative partnership. This is one of the key pieces that has changed so dramatically in the last 5-10 years, is this partnering with our clients. We're working less for them than we are with them. It's not about DIYing, especially not at the top tier level. They have the resource and they don't have the time. You're there to take it off their plate. And that's extremely important. Take a very close, hard look at your website after this presentation and put on your, I'm visiting the site for the first time and looking for a designer hat, and see if your site really connects with them and tells them that you're taking design off their plate, that you want to be in a creative partnership with them to deliver their design dreams. Or are you saying, well, I can help you and I can consult with you and I can, that's not what they want, okay? You need to show up with unshakable confidence, even if you're shaking in your boots. If you're like, this is the biggest client I've ever had, okay? Don't let them know that. Your confidence is a key part of the trust and rapport that you build. And they need to feel confident in order to invest significantly with you. And if it's a choice between designers of equal talent with equal resumes and equal portfolios, we'll say, they will choose the more confident designer. Could be the less experienced designer, but they will choose the more confident designer. Confidence is an aphrodisiac for clients at the top, the middle, and even the bottom of the market. Never, ever forget that. Communicate concisely and consistently, and this is so very important. So, big tip for you if you're not currently doing this. Every single week, the same day, same time, you want to send a quick email update to every single open project that you have. Now, if you have 5 open projects, 15 open projects, 40 open projects, it doesn't matter. You have to send a short email update. Even if they're in that, I'm going to call it that sort of limbo land where they've invested a whole bunch and now we're waiting 16 weeks. Maybe it wasn't a reno remodel, it was strictly furniture. You're like, well, what am I going to send them, Melissa? You're going to say, hey, we're still on track for your big reveal, December 15th. Can't wait. And by the way, I saw this and thought of you. And you send them a little, maybe it's an accessory, or maybe it's a lamp that they hadn't included in the original plan. You say, I know we weren't doing the bedroom yet, but I saw this and thought of you. And they feel cared for. They feel important. They feel like the VIP that they should be. And when you do that, it will take away all those distracting little texts and irritating emails and funky phone calls that they make because they're scared. They're like, we're not hearing anything. It's, 16 weeks is a long time to wait. What if something happens? So that little strategy alone will change your business forever positively. Okay? Anybody here doing that already? Show of hands. I got 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, excellent. I recognize a lot of those hands. That's good. So deliver an unforgettable design experience. Remember, it's not the destination that matters. It's the whole experience. And in the book are a whole lot of first-class client care, because when I schedule a project along that path, I add the client care into it from the very get-go. I know when I'm going to give them a gift certificate for out to dinner. I know when I'm going to send them to a spa day. I know When I'm, if it's a really big reno, there may actually be breakfast for a couple of nights because it's stressful. How many of you here have ever been through your own reno or remodel? Let me see a show of hands. Okay, a fair number of you. So did you wish that you'd moved out? Because I know I sure did. It wasn't fun having strangers in the house all the time. It was tough. So you want to be cognizant of that always. And next step is how to identify affluent clients. And let's take a look at those mistakes. You're being fooled by appearances. This is very, very dangerous, okay? I've spoken with a number of designers just in the last 2 years. Occasionally, it's clients of mine that forget the process. Your process is everything, but you don't want to make process everything to the client. But process means profit. When you break your process, you break your profit, okay? So one of the things that's happening is you're looking at their address, you're looking at the car you think they drive. Maybe it's a lease, maybe they don't own it. You're looking at what they're wearing. You're looking at their bling bits, okay? Those may not even be real bling bits, or they could have all their money in the bling and not a whole lot left over for anything else, okay? You have to be super careful. But the designers that I spoke with had not gotten the number of the planned investment before they did the proposal. And they blew up the proposal to these huge numbers. And the potential client said, no, you never, ever propose without knowing the planned investment number. Never. If they say they don't know, then you give them ranges to go by. But do not be the first one to mention a number to them. That's never a good idea, okay? And the other thing you have to be super careful of is the neighborhood. In Atlanta, where I practiced for 30 years, we have several very high-end gated communities. I bet you all have some of those where you live too. And the thing that was so interesting was at least 30 to 40% of the neighborhood had the big address, the 2 leased Mercedes out front, and 10 empty rooms inside, okay? They're house rich, design poor. You don't want to chase those kind of people. They don't have the investment to make. So instead, you're going to learn what to look for. It's not about how much they have. It's about how much they're willing to invest in design. And you can say, well, they got the money. I just don't understand. It's their money. Okay, it's their money. They get to choose what they want to do with it. Now, you need to have the skills of persuasion, not manipulation ever, but persuasion, and you need to be able to educate them into value, and you need to be able to show them what they didn't even know existed, and now they can't live without it. That's really cool. And you never want to fall into the trap of thinking, oh, online, Melissa. No, they can't. The best elements in interiors are not available online. They're only available to us, and they're still behind closed doors. Yes. So being here at Market is a wonderful opportunity for that. So the 5 types of affluent clients worth working with. The first one, millionaires next door. I love these folks. I've worked with them several times, and it took me a little bit to kind of understand what I was working with. I was like, oh, I didn't know we had that possible. Give you a case in point. Honest neighborhoods, been in the same, this is like a Warren Buffett profile. Could be billionaires next door, okay? Depends on where you live. Home value most often under 500K. And a lot of you would be like, 500K, I'm not even gonna look at that, Melissa. Well, then there was the $250,000 townhome that she invested $500,000 in the interiors. Really? Somebody do that? Well, she did. She was only supposed to invest $70,000, but I have a way of doubling, tripling, quadrupling, and quintupling projects. So it worked really well. And she's still an incredibly happy camper. She said that I'd ruined her for 5-star hotels. She never wanted to leave her home. Pretty fun. Can you do that? Because that opportunity is available to you with millionaires next door. When you treat them right, when you educate them into value, and in some cases you'll consult because they may want to they may have their own crew. They are the ones that would do that. They're still well worth working with. I have several clients to this day that I actually saw a couple of them in Atlanta just last week. One that I think I've done 4 houses for now, one home twice because they sold it and then rebought it. Who does that? So they're a lot of fun. 2/3 are self-employed. I love working with entrepreneurs, small biz owners, and they don't read design magazines and they're not watching HGTV. Okay? They don't give a whit about any of that. Fast spenders of quick riches. Sometimes they're lottery winners. Sometimes it's sudden business success, signed to a major sports team. They love flash and sizzle. They may not know quality. Here's the tricky bit. Because it's quick riches, sometimes it's quick and then it's gone. And so you want to be careful that you get your money up front. I had one like this. It was a former star basketball player and he'd blown out his knees. And it turns out that his money had been mismanaged really badly. And I just barely got out before they declared bankruptcy. So always work into the money. You're paid in advance for all services provided. You never chase. Never, ever chase. So if you're not working off retainer, you're not working off fixed fee, you and I need to have a conversation. I don't ever want you chasing money. There's nothing worse. There really isn't. So next one is dynamic DINK. DINK stands for dual income, no kids. How many of you here have kids? Yeah, you know what? Kids are expensive, aren't they? Okay. So dual income, no kids, and SINKs, single income, no kids, rock as clients. They're fabulous clients to have because they don't have the kids, so they have a lot more disposable income. Okay. These are the power couples. They're internet savvy. They know what they like. They read Forbes and Arc Digest, and they appreciate high quality. They will also turn it fairly often because they're out to impress, and they don't use their environment very much. They are making reservations for dinner. Okay, even in today's age, they're making reservations for dinner, but they love to show off what they have. In a lot of cases, I call them urban sophisticates. They're hard to keep them loyal, but they're very valuable clients. Lavish spenders who always look good. These are the country club sorts, and they do entertain some at home, but they also do a lot of at the club sort of pieces, but they talk a lot to each other. So referrals, when you do a really amazing job, are great with these folks. They're often empty nesters. They have a luxury travel and lifestyle, and they read the Robb Report. So you notice the publications that I've said. Are any of you reading those publications? You want to be reading what your market reads. You want to be seeing what they're seeing. Okay. Retired world travelers ready for their forever home. Anybody got any of these? There are a lot of them now. Yeah, there are a lot of them right now. And they can be really fun to work with. They're going to have collections. You got to incorporate those collections. You got to showcase their travels. And depending on whether they've got a lot of grown kids and a lot of grandbabies, you've got to make it family friendly, kid friendly, pet friendly. But they will absolutely invest it. And next to them are the ones that don't really have the family anymore, but they're retired. And I've got one designer that I work with that she's got clients coming to her 70 and 75 years old with very large amounts of investment because part of design is the attention they get, and they're not getting it anywhere else in their life. So that's why they're doing this. So you want to give them extra attention. I don't know if any of you have worked with a lot of stay-at-home mommies, but sometimes they need a grown-up to talk to. And I just saw one client of mine last week. She's now fully retired. Her husband's retired, but he's off doing a lot of hunting. She's lonely. She's lonely. We went to lunch and she's just lonely. So you want to pay attention to that. I want to give you a tiny bit of background about me in case you don't know me. How many people here know me? Heard me speak before? I got a bunch of clients in the room. This is awesome. Okay, so everything I teach you is proven. There's no theory, there's no fluff. It's all tested either in my business and or that of my clients. I've been in this business for over 30 years. I love design. I love serving and helping designers to get what they want out of their businesses. There's nothing more. So these are the areas that I work in: the ideal clients and care, rates and fees, which is a huge one, project management, time management, team building. There really isn't an area I don't touch, and I do a lot with marketing as well. I've had the great fortune to speak at a lot of markets and speak for all of the folks or write for them that are here. And here's the thing. Design is a lifestyle business. It's not just my lifestyle, it's your lifestyle. When you design your lifestyle the right way, clients will flow to you just from what you do normally. And I'm going to share with you some specific stories of how that works. Because when you do it that way, your marketing becomes organic and you're not like, oh, marketing, I hate it. Okay. It just becomes, oh, look, I met so-and-so over that place I went and had dinner. Oh, I was on the tennis courts and one of my tennis buddies introduced me to a potential new client. And it becomes really organic. And that's what you want to look at. So if you're struggling with lead generation, take a look at your life and go, what is it in my life that I enjoy doing that I could meet clients at? And if you don't have an answer for that, we need to look at maybe some things you aren't doing that you'd enjoy so we can expand those opportunities. Okay, because I really want you to expand those opportunities. And it all comes from the books. If you want more knowledge, it's available to you. I don't need to share more of that right now. Where to meet affluent clients and how to connect. Business and social clubs. Anybody here familiar with Club Core? Yeah? Okay. So Club Core is the nation's largest social/business club. They have them all over the country. I had one in Atlanta called the Buckhead Club. We also had the Commerce Club in Atlanta. And where I am in Scottsdale, Arizona now is my home base. They have the Gainey, I think it's a golf club. In Scottsdale, it's not as much of a business club, so that doesn't work as well for me. I don't play golf. I can ride the cart with cocktails and music off the back, but I don't play golf. So that doesn't work as well for me, but it does work extremely well if you get into one of the ones that has a business component to it. It's a great place to connect. They have member events, and all the members are in careers and in business, and they want to talk to you and find out who you are and what you offer and that sort of thing. So that can be incredibly valuable. So I would really, I know that the one in Atlanta is open during this. They are social distancing, masks required, but people are still going. So it's something to look at. It definitely is. Ordinary that becomes luxurious. So one of my clients is an equestrian. And when we first got started, as I do with all my clients, I say, I need your vision board. And on her vision board, she put a horse. She wanted to either own or lease a horse because she wanted to ride a couple times a week. And within 2 weeks of putting the vision board together, she landed Ernie. And Ernie is a leased horse. A year later, she's bought Ernie, which I'm thrilled to pieces with, because when she rides, she's in her joy. She's in her joy. And guess where the majority of her clients come from? They come from riding that she's met. Equestrianism, horseback riding, all that, at that level, is an investment sport. So are yachts. So is wine tasting, okay? So there's others, wine tasting. You don't have to know anything about wine, but skip the free tastings. Go to the ones that are gonna cost you $50, $150, maybe it's a wine dinner and it's $200, because you're going to be, okay, maybe you won't be rubbing shoulders with them now. Maybe you'll be 3 feet, 4 feet apart with a mask on, discussing the virtues of the wine, okay? But these are often very small gatherings, so they're much more comfortable than something much larger. In Atlanta, we had the High Museum wine auction every year, and it was a huge fundraiser. I'm sure they took it online this year. But again, wine tastings can be done in very small groups, and you could actually check in with your local wine shops and see if they want to put together a wine, and then you invited potential clients to get them familiar and say, you know, you love wine, I love wine too. That's a matching values, okay? Educated clients buy more. If you have the ability to teach, taught evening at Emory University for 10 years. I taught Oglethorpe for 4 in Atlanta, and I taught Sproul Arts for 3. And I pulled clients from every single one. And the clients tended to be that high end. The attorneys, the consultants, because they didn't have the time, but they wanted to learn enough about it so they wouldn't screw it up. And then they're just like, you know, Melissa, I've enjoyed you for 6 weeks in class. I know you now. Just do it for me. I don't have time for this. I understand now how complicated it is. So you're not really teaching them how to do it. You're teaching them how complicated it is. And then they go, wow, I can't do this. So if you have, and you can do this all online. I did it in person because this was way before we had Zoom, but you could do it all online and you could advertise it through Facebook. You could advertise it through Instagram. You could also send it to your mailing list. How many of you here have a mailing list? Wow, not enough of you. Okay. Every single one of you should have a mailing list starting with your clients and then adding people to that list. Whether you meet them and they say, yes, please, I'd like to be part of your design community. I don't ever say mailing list. I say design community. I love design tips. I'd love to learn more from you. That's really valuable. My cash for profit. Anybody here in touch with alumni from their college, or if they got a master's degree from that, even from your high school? Yeah? Okay, super valuable. My very first client for my design business came from an alumni in the Atlanta area of Cornell University. I'd never met them. They were 10 years younger, a completely different major, but the fact that we were both alumni of Cornell was enough to tip them over in my favor. So if you were either online and let's say some stranger approaches you online on Facebook and they say, hi, Susie, I went to Smith University too. You'd automatically be predisposed because of that connection. So those of you that have not yet done this, I would encourage you to look in your local market for alumni chapters, alumni groups. Maybe they have an online that you can join and start to show up there and find out what they did with their lives. A lot of them are very successful. Look them up on LinkedIn. Find what your points in common are. Maybe you both have kids the same age. Maybe you both love dogs. Maybe they love wine. You love wine. And then take it from there. But that's an untapped connection, and it really is mining your past profit. Next step, 7 profitable strategies. Okay, now I want to pause at this point and see, are there any burning questions in the room? Yes. What I did was I took design and I broke it out, and I did fabrics and upholstery one week, and then I did flooring another week, and then I did drapery another week, and I broke it out like that. So if you just figure out an easy way for consumers, not designers, consumers, that'll make a lot of sense. You could also do it via style. So you could say, well, we're going to do modern this week, and we're going to do farmhouse this week, and we're going to do traditional this week, and do it that way. Yeah. Yes, it was continuing ed. I actually got paid pretty well for it at the time. I don't think they do that as much anymore. You still get a stipend for it, but the real reason you're there is to connect with potential clients. And I would invite them to bring in a floor plan, and I'd be happy to look at it at break. I'm not going to spend an hour with them doing that, but yeah. I see some light bulbs going off. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, well, hang on. Eliminate the word budget, first of all. You gotta ditch that word. If you need to put one of those cause bands on your wrist, I don't have any with me today, and start snapping it on the inside to get yourself to say the word investment. Because when you ask somebody for a budget, you're asking them for their limitation. And that's uncomfortable. I mean, if you asked me for my marketing budget, I'd be like, but if you said, what's your marketing investment? I'm like, well, what do you think it needs to be? What do you think I need to invest in this? And you do need to have numbers for that, by the way. So if you're working with somebody on their living room and they're saying, I don't have any idea, you need to be able to say, well, you know, a good, better, best for my living rooms. And my good is, I'm making up random numbers here. My good is 30 to 50K. My better is 50 to 80K. And my best is going to be 80 to 120K. And they go, oh, okay, great. Well, I think we're probably going to fall in that better range. We're not ready to go best yet. Or they'll go, oh, goodness, we thought it was going to be $20,000, so we're not even going to hit your good level. Well, this may not be a fit for you then. Bye-bye. See? Now, preferably, you've gotten this information on the phone before you ever went out to their home, because you never go out without getting that critical information to find out if they're even a fit. You need to have a minimum design fee that you work with, and I'm really hoping it's not below 15K, and that's the design fee, okay? So you can set it at any level, but it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it, because it's one of the stickiest things to do. Have your ranges on a cheat sheet right in front of you. You could also do an opt-in. There's a terrific designer out of Atlanta called Barclay Stone Interiors. And Barclay has done a really brilliant opt-in. That's that place where somebody gives you their email and their name. And her opt-in is, she calls it budget. Makes me cringe. But it's up there for people to see what it costs to work with her to do a living room and a bedroom. And she has a better and a best. She doesn't even do good. There's a better and a best, and the number's right there on the site. So they can see it and they can say, I could work with Barclay. That'd be good. Yeah. So you can take a look at that if it helps. Sure, absolutely. All right, any other burning questions? Or should we keep going? I think we can keep going. Okay, so landscape signage. So darn important. How many of you are using landscape signs? Let me see a show of hands. One of you? Really? Wow. Okay. You guys are missing out on this. And lest you fall into the trap that I fell into, which was, that's tacky, I wouldn't do that. No. Anybody here know the name Kelly Hoppen, top London designer? Okay, well, when I read that Kelly Hoppen was using landscape signage on brownstones, and that's how she got several referrals, I was like, oh my God, Kelly Hoppen is a top designer in London. I need to be using landscape signage, okay? So I give you these examples here. TJ's is the only poor example because he doesn't have any contact information on there. But you don't want it doing anything more than this, okay? We've got a phone number. We've got the website. Same thing on that one. That one's a little on the big side in terms of the post. This is a good size, and this is a great size with a nice post on it. I don't want the wobbly little 2-peg. That looks cheap and tacky, okay? But what I do want to know is that you're going to have 5 or 6 of these or 10 of these made up, and they're going to be ready. And I tell you what one of my clients in California does. She goes out when the agreement's ready to be signed. She has the sign in the back of her car with a bottle of champagne and some glasses. And she literally is toasting the client and putting that landscape sign right boom there in the yard. And she's having the best year she's ever had. Not solely attributable to that, but that's certainly one of the features. And she makes it fun. It's not, I have a couple of other designers who are like, oh, Melissa, it's so uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, do what Andrea does, because Andrea's making this a festive event. Now, you put it in your letter of agreement. So if they're going to strike it before they sign, you're not going to fight them. It's their choice. But we're in COVID. What are people doing in COVID? They're not getting out much. So they're walking their neighborhoods, okay? They're slowly driving around. Real estate's hotter than sin right now. So what could be better than to be able to get more clients like the ones you have in their same neighborhoods? Wow, okay? So who now, between now and Monday, you have an all-day Monday to do this, is going to go ahead and order signs, not just design them, but order them. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Can't believe you've waited this long. Okay, so postcards for increased profit. This is one of my favorite methods. Yes, it is old school. It is direct response, but guess why it works? Because our email boxes are bloody overflowing. Okay? Yes, ma'am. It stays there for the duration of the project, from the time they sign the letter of agreement to the time you do the big reveal. And in a lot of cases, that's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, yeah. But guess what? Contractors and builders have been doing this for years. We're finally playing catch up to them? That's embarrassing. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so you need a campaign of 7 to 12 touches. It's not enough to do 1 and 2 touches, okay? Target past clients separately. Include testimonials because that's social proof. Use rich images, less text, and include a strong CTA, call to action. with a deadline, What you don't want them to do is to get your lovely postcard and go, oh, I'll just save this in the drawer. Oh, I'll just stick it in the drawer. It's not useful. It needs to at least say expires in 30 days. It's not a real hard deadline because their 30 days and yours could be different. But the reason you got to be careful, and be careful about discounting your services. I'd rather you did an add-on bonus. Maybe you're going to say, we'll include a mood board. Yeah, what takes you 30 minutes? Not a big deal, okay? I'd rather you included something special than discounted your services, because discounting impairs your value. Yes. Well, this is normally to get them to give you a call and to have what I call a design discovery consultation by phone, which by the way is free. I do not call it a call because a call has zero value. A consultation has value. And I make sure I stress that it's complimentary. I don't use the word free. Again, my language is everything, okay? And then from there, you want them to have an in-home consult, whether you call it a home review or you call it a style review, however you want to phrase it. And depending on the level of market, you put a fee on that or you don't. My rule of thumb was if your investment was going to be 6 figures or above, I didn't put a fee on it. If your investment was 6 figures and below, I had a fee on it. So that's how I did it and worked really well. So I didn't ever get my tires kicked. You know, you want to avoid the tire kickers. That's annoying. I'm not a car. Don't kick my tires. Okay. But when you do this, please design all 7 to 12 at one time. Because what's going to happen if you design one and get it out, then you're going to be like, oh, I got to get the other one out. It's due tomorrow. Oh no. Okay. Avoid all that. Just design them all so that they have a cohesive brand image and a cohesive look. You can tweak them along the path. Vistaprint's very good at this, and they'll give you help for $10 an hour. Sometimes they forget to charge you too. It's great. So create your profit posse. Yes, ma'am. You should be using your own images. Your own images, yeah. You can get images, iStock, Big Stock, Shutterstock, Pexels, Unsplash. I'd rather you use your own images. That would be the honest thing to do. So create your profit posse. For those of you, anybody here, I know I've got one BNIer in the room. Do I have any more BNIers in the room? Great, okay. Okay, so BNI is a formal networking. You invest in that. It takes 1 year to 2 years to gain the traction to start seeing quality referrals coming through. It is a long game. It is an excellent long game, but are you prepared for a long game? If you're not, I would encourage you to create your own profit posse, as I call it, which means you take a piece of paper, and this, by the way, the formula is in the book, you divvy it up into 3 columns. Before they work with me, while they're working with me, after they've worked with me. And you write down the professionals, the titles. So before they've worked with you, maybe there's a real estate agent, maybe there's a mortgage banker, maybe there's a landscaper, could be any number of different people. And you look at that list and then you take from all 3 lists and you find those people who work at your level because they have your market coming to them, but not for design. So they're not competing with you, okay? And you structure so that you're in touch with them at least every couple of weeks. Maybe it's for a cup of coffee, maybe it's for a Zoom cocktail, however you want to structure it. But you are active in referring them and you teach them how to refer you. Because you just don't want any old warm body who bought a home in the neighborhood. You have a specific ideal client that you're looking for, okay? So that's how you create your own. If you want to explore the BNIs and groups of that nature, that's great. Just guest visit, whether it's a Zoom guest, which is what they're doing right now, or it gets to be back to in-person again, because every chapter's a little different. And some chapters are going to be good fits for you and some are going to be like, ooh, really not good fits for you. And check out the professionals that are there because they're the ones referring you business. If they're not doing business at your level, if they're down here, that's not going to work. okay? So be strategic in that. Harness your personal power of the handwritten note. How many of you people write notes? Okay, not enough of you. Okay, I know, I freely admit, when email advented, I got super sloppy. It's embarrassing how sloppy I got because my business was built on handwritten notes. Every single call I went on, didn't matter whether it was my first or my 50th with you, sent a handwritten note. So great to see you. So glad we got this taken care of. Looking forward to seeing you here. By the way, you never want to leave one call without scheduling the next one. That will also stop the annoying texts, the irritating emails, and the crazy phone calls. Because they know, oh, we're gonna see them again here. That's peace of mind. Okay? That really makes a difference. But the handwritten notes are so, so important. You don't have to do them for every visit, but if you would intersperse them through the project, have some fun ones. If you've got an assistant, make sure you've got really gorgeous stationery and you're just gonna write a beautiful little note and get it sent off. Okay? I actually had clients who saved all of them. They put them on their refrigerator. When I would travel, I would send postcards. First thing I did when I landed was I would go and I would buy 120 postcards and half went to friends and family and half went to clients. I was juggling that many at one time. I don't recommend that, by the way. Know your answer to the question. Okay, so what question is this? When you are out and about, maybe when you're online, you're in a Zoom meeting for the first time, what do you do? What do you do? Let me hear an answer. Somebody says to you, what do you do? What do you say? No, it's not it. If I saw you at an event and we would both be in masks and I said, so what do you do? Okay, you have just labeled yourself and put yourself in a box. Don't do that, okay? Instead, I want you to take a testimonial, and if you don't have testimonials, I've got a secret weapon resource I can give you. She's in the book too. They can get them for you, which is way easier than getting them for yourself. But what I want you to do is use a testimonial as your entry point. So in my case, I would say, well, one of my clients says that I've ruined her for 5-star hotels. She loves her home so much. I'm an interior designer. Oh, well, tell me more about that ruiner for 5-star hotels. I'd love to have my home like a 5-star hotel. Ooh, okay. I just totally shifted that. I felt that. Did you feel that? Okay. So can you all think of testimonials that you have that you could take and turn into something really cool like that? I have another one, and this is from way long time ago. I did a teeny tiny great room, and my secret weapon got this testimonial from her. And I'd say, well, you know, my client says, see, I'm not saying it, so it doesn't sound like I'm bragging. My client says I walk on water because I did such a great family room for her and her kids. They go, a family room since you walk on water? What did you do? You know, so now they're curious, they're leaning in. If I say I'm an interior designer and I don't give any context, they literally just box me, put me on a shelf, and are like, oh yeah, we know what an interior designer does. But they don't. No one knows what any of you does, and each one of you does something different. And I want you to leverage that when you're answering that question. It's incredibly valuable. Leave it behind for big buzz. This is first-class client care. I've got 21 different pieces of first-class client care that I share in the book, and I share it in the book. When you buy the book, you get a whole bunch of extra goodie details. There's a whole resource page of things. But the leave behind. So when you do somebody's master bedroom, do you finish off with 4 Godiva truffles, a split of champagne, and some flutes with a monogram on them by the bedside? And if not, why not? Why not? That's what you'd experience at the Ritz or the Intercontinental. So I want you to start thinking about, wow, what are the leave behinds that I could create, that I could really, and then they become just part of your routine. You don't have to think about them. You think about them once and you get them all lined up, hand them off to your assistant, plug them into your projects. Okay? Those sort of things really make a difference. And then this is one of my favorites, meet movers and shakers by committee. you can take your time and you can give it as a charitable donation and say, you know, you can get a complimentary home review and make it a silent auction item. Or more powerfully, you can get on the committee for that charity and you can start to connect with the other women there who are all very high powered, all very accomplished, and don't have time to do their homes. And because you've worked on a committee with them, they're far more inclined to look at your work than they are some stranger. So find a charity that you like, whether it's Make-A-Wish, whether it's Partnership Against Domestic Violence is one of my favorites, or Center for the Visually Impaired. We had that one in Atlanta, and I felt really strongly about that too. But it's not hard to get on committees. They're always looking for committee people, and it's a fabulous way to get known and recognized in your local community, whether it's a big city or a small place, and make a big difference, both to yourself, to them, and to your business. So that's my favorite one. So what you've learned, do you know the definition of luxury? So what's the definition of luxury? Happiness. Yeah, they're buying happiness. Thank you. 5 key qualities affluent clients want in a designer. Give me just 2 of those. Confidence, excellent. Okay, what's another one? Fun, connection, okay. How to identify affluent clients? It's not always obvious. You're no longer going to look for the overt signs because the people who often have the most money are the least overt about it. And I'll give you a quick story on that. There was an architect that I worked with who lived and did all of his design work on a small island. And he had the opportunity to partner up with Rolls-Royce and to fly him and his partner to London for $20,000 it cost them to have a booth at a Rolls-Royce event. And we connected 6 months later, and he said, you know, Melissa, I just don't understand. I didn't get any business out of that, no clients, no leads, nothing. And I said, hang on a minute. I said, you've described your ideal client to me. How many of your clients drive Rolls-Royces? It got very, very quiet. And he said, none. And I said, what do they drive? And he said, well, they usually drive Beamers or Mercedes. I said, they're probably more millionaires next door. They could buy and sell several Rolls, but they're not flashy like that. He'd broken his process. He'd gone away from his ideal client and who he was best suited to work with. And he just blew $20,000 on a marketing adventure for no reason. So this is why you have to know your ideal client and you want to play in that sandbox. And just, they've got a Rolls, they have money. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? The 5 types of affluent clients worth working with, there are 4 more in the book. 3 of the 4 are worth working with. 1 is impossible. Where to meet affluent clients and how to connect, you got that. And then the 7 profitable strategies. So let me hear a couple of the strategies that y'all are going to deploy. Postcards, excellent. Yard signs. Yeah, it's so obvious. It's so easy. Please do not go for perfection on these yard signs. Go for done and in the yard because they don't count if they're in your imagination. They don't count if they're on your list. They don't count. Fast signs. Fast signs is all over the country. You can also, probably Vistaprint does them now too. Yes, ma'am. You know, I have not, but that's a great point. So it's certainly something you can ask about. What I would do is I would drive the neighborhood first and see if you see anybody else's signs, if you see a landscaper sign, if you see a contractor sign, because they all put them out. And if the HOA is prohibitive, your client should know that and they would strike it from the agreement. So better to, you know, you're asking permission, but at the same time, if it escaped your client's notice and then they got something from the HOA, they just say, hey, come take it down. No big deal. But better that you do that than not try at all, right? Okay. Any other questions I can answer? Yeah. Oh, sure. Her name is Tricia, Tricia Malloy, Molloy. If you look up Tricia Malloy testimonial service, you should, the URL should come up and you'll see my smiling mug on her page. She's been doing them for me for probably 25 years.
She's amazing.
Molloy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so please join the Facebook group. You will need to answer 3 questions. If you don't answer the questions, I don't let you in. I vet everybody in the Facebook group. And follow me on Instagram. I'm here to serve and support your success. That is my goal. That is my greatest thrill in life. And if you want more about the book, please come ask. I happen to have, well, no, I don't. I have 4 copies here. I have 4 copies with me today that I'm happy to, it's like $19.95, so it's $20. But please, you can go to marketingluxury.com to get your copy. I will personally autograph it. I will be back in Scottsdale October 26th. I will do a shipment out then. They will come in a gold padded envelope. And I keep track of each one of the designers who invest in the book. It's not a major investment. The investment is in the implementation. When you implement this, it's amazing. And I'm going to start doing trainings around this book for those who have invested in it. So I will be in touch with you, and there's more cool things I can send you. But I have to know that that's something that you want, and that's what does it. If you do want the slides from this, just pull out a business card, put yes on the back, and I'll get the slides to you. So you'll have all of this in a PDF format that you can refer to. And it makes it really easy. I know we were a little bit short on handouts. I had some handouts here today, but we ran a little bit short. And I am here to answer your questions and to otherwise serve and support your success. I am Frank Wright's great-granddaughter. I am. Yeah. You took a class with me at Emory? Oh, how very cool. That is so neat. Thank you so much for being here again. Wow, that's fun. Yeah, I'm so privileged to have had that opportunity because I get to meet my students all over the place. And which class did you take? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I always check with you. You always said that colors have different meanings.
Oh, God, yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, so I remember
That's so fun.
Yes,
Yes, yes, yes, good old Brown. Uh-huh. The yellow handouts are yellow because of memory retention. Yeah. That's why McDonald's has golden arches. They could have been blue, but we wouldn't remember them as well. And the orange that most of you are wearing stands for affordable. It's, yeah, you'll laugh more in the presence of orange, learn more in the presence of orange. Boy, you did retain a lot. That's fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm aging backwards. It's working really well for me.
You want that free book.
Now, what I will share with you is I'm fortunate enough today to have 3 clients in the room. So those of you that are curious about my coaching, I am a full-time business marketing coach for interior designers. I have maybe 5 interior design clients that are in very small phases of things. I've been in it for 30 years, okay? I'm not a one-size-fits-all. I customize all my coaching to the individual designer. But I have 3 clients here today, and I have one dear friend here today who can speak to it too because I kind of coach wherever I go. She gets it from me. So if you have questions, Goff, Aaron, Patty Lynn, and Lene are all here. They're all from different parts of the country. Goff is from California, Southern Cal. Aaron is from Spokane, Washington. Patty Lynn is from Nashville, Franklin, technically speaking, and Lene is from Austin, Waco, Texas. So please feel free to ask them any questions. They did not know I was going to do that. I did not have their permission, but you know, I think they're going to be pretty cool with it. I got them for dinner later, so. If you don't have one yet, you got one. You got one. Okay, now we're down to 3. Yeah, okay. You're taking the other one. Okay, she's waving money at me. That's really funny. Okay. You want 2? Okay, now we're down to 0. Okay. You'll order it? Okay. Okay, they're gonna get theirs in the mail too. Okay, great. So now we're back up to 5. So you guys just come up and give me cash. I haven't got any change. But seriously, if you do need any help with anything, if you have quick questions, please reach out to me on Instagram. Please reach out to me on Facebook. I'm generally pretty responsive. I'm less responsive when I'm traveling because my time really isn't my own. The most important to me are right here. face-to-face, toe-to-toe. I can't even say face-to-face anymore. It has to be toe-to-toe because face-to-face can be Zoom. This is such an amazing treat. I cannot tell you what it means to me to be here today with the hardest thing for me through all this. It's not that I lost speaking engagements, it's that I lost the connection. And this has really meant a lot to me to be here, and truly appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And I really hope it makes a huge difference for you and your businesses. And I want to hear from you about the book. And you get this in the book, but nobody's taking me up on it. They're not apparently reading that particular line. So here's the deal. If you get the book, and even if you get it from me by mail, and you post an IG story and you tag me, you and I will schedule 30 minutes momentum session on the phone or Zoom, okay? It's a promise I make in the book, but it's fine print, so it's not being seen. I want to make sure you get that, but my added incentive is I want you to share that you're reading it, because that helps me get the word out to more designers. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Any other answers? Anybody got a glass of champagne or some chocolate?
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.